Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Smash that subscribe button. Leave a like, leave a comment. Tell us what you think. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
You can find us, Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everyone's favorite TikTok. And of course, check us out on Reddit and leave us a comment. Leave us like on your favorite podcast subscriber. Wow, that word is tough.
Reviews, rating.
Reviews,
it's a Monday. We're trying. Here we go. Let's go into NHL playoffs. Not too much Jets news. We'll hit the Jets a bit after the playoffs, but let's start with the Canadian teams, Toronto and Florida. Florida going in with a three-game lead. You really can't be in any more trouble than the Leafs are in right now.
No,
they're down 3-0. Their goalie is hurt. Their two best scorers are nowhere to be found. It's as bad as they can get.
Yeah. I mean, basically at this point, you can end up saying the Leafs won their Stanley Cup in the first round by finally advancing. But they have not shown they are a team that belongs in the second round at this point, getting beat pretty handily by an 8th seeded team. Again, Florida playing very well. And like you said, the top scorers, Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander, no goals so far in 3 games here. That's not helping Toronto at all.
No.
You know, and it's just showing that these guys are not ready to give it their all in the playoffs and play that physical contact and come away with victory.
No, I can't see Toronto coming back at all. Who are you playing in net next game?
Sounds as good as me, Joseph Wall. You know, Matt Murray is the third stringer. You know, so he was the backup after Samsonov got hurt yesterday, but I can't see them throwing him in a game now. When was the last time he even played a game?
Yeah.
You know, and Wall came in and he actually didn't do too bad yesterday. You know, he hung in there.
18 out of 21. 18 for 21, not bad.
He hung in there, came in cold, and you know what? He hung in there and helped, especially getting to that third, because Toronto was getting outplayed pretty bad in the first 2 periods.
Yeah.
Or after they took that 1-0 lead, it was mainly Florida after that. And then the third, Toronto woke up a bit, and you know, but he kept them in that game. And then Florida, for some reason, they're a funny team, man. They just wake up in the last 2-3 minutes of a game, and they're like, "Okay, let's push, and we'll get this goal." And then they did it, and they got in overtime.
We've seen that before.
They did it to Boston in Game 7.
You've seen that before.
Like Boston took over that Game 7 going into the third, and then Florida just came back. So
going back to Joseph Wall, I think in this situation, when you're down an insurmountable lead almost, maybe having this rookie in is a good thing. You know, it reminds me, I'm a huge fan, obviously, of Mike Tomlin and his interview, and like they're talking about the Super Bowl. And remember when Larry Fitzgerald went right down the middle for the touchdown, and all of the Steeler defense was stunned. Like it was the best Steeler defense, one of the best Steeler defenses, other than the steel curtain, and all of them were wide-eyed. What did Tomlin do? He went to the rookie. He went to Lamar Woodley. He's like, go make a play. And he made a play because he's a rookie. He wasn't taking in the big scenario. He was just onto the game and whatever. So maybe this Joseph Wall thing is something like that, is where you have a young guy. How many games has he played? Like 18, 20?
Yeah.
Just coming in, and maybe he's just focused into the game, and that'll motivate the other players to rally around him because he is the backup to the backup, kind of, pretty much. But yeah, they're in trouble. I can't see it happening. Florida having that unrelenting forecheck. Give me a break. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree with you. He has nothing to lose. Wall has nothing to lose. You know, the rest of the team, yes, they do, because it's going to be a bloodbath if they end up going, especially if they go 4 straight. You know, maybe if they can steal a victory or 2 here at some point, maybe it's not as bad, but 4 straight. You know, that media is going to destroy Dubas. It's going to destroy Matthews, Marner, all that. They're just going to take a beating, and rightfully so, because they were getting outplayed. Like even Tavares, Marner, and Matthews played a little bit yesterday together, and they got outshot by Florida when they were on the line together. So those are your 3 best players, almost, right? You want them on the ice together. You think they're going to be able to do something. Even the overtime goal, Reinhart was allowed to hang on to the puck, carry the puck in, get behind the net, pass it out, take it back, and wrap around and score. No one touched him the whole time.
Cement feet.
Yes. It was unreal, man. They all just watched him.
Oh, boy. That doesn't look... There's no pushback there.
Oh, yeah. That's the word of the playoffs this year, eh? Pushback.
Yeah. I love how on social media, people are saying, like, how does Austin Matthews go into next season asking for $50 million?
Yeah.
After $15 million after not showing up in the playoffs or at the biggest moment.
Yeah, what does Draisaitl do? Does he hold out and ask for 15?
Ooh, that guy.
Because I mean,
let's talk about Draisaitl. Let's talk about Edmonton. Just before that, I really love, and we'll talk about Paul Maurice in a sec. I really love his response on what he said about how do you hold down players like Matthews, William, Nylander, Mitch Marner. He's like, Bobrovsky. That would be the end of that answer.
Yeah.
And the next question. So, guys on fire. Edmonton,
and you shit talked Bobrovsky before the series started.
For sure. I thought this guy cannot do it against this team.
I agreed with that too. So I can't say anything. He's taking it back to that level that, before he signed that $10 million contract, he kind of got back there again.
And that's the thing. And this whole year has been kind of like a seesaw for Bobrovsky, starting, get pulled out, coming back in, getting injured almost right away, coming back out, coming back in the playoffs. So
that's been his whole tenure in Florida, basically, up and down, right?
Jeez.
Some good games and mostly bad games. Good for him,
let's go to Edmonton and Vegas. Wow, the craziness at the end of that game. I don't know what's crazier, the end of that game or the streets in Edmonton on those watch parties.
Oh my god,
which we'll talk about in a second. But Evander Kane giving it to Kolosov. I loved Evander Kane. You're going to fuck around. You're going to find out. But, I guarantee you if Katie Williams was in that arena, he would have jumped down. He, put those gold teeth in and taken care of some business. But that was craziness.
Yeah. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Like, they're just kind of both lying on the ice and Kane just giving him gut shots. It's like, what am I watching here? This is hockey? Like, what?
In a row.
Yeah, just straight, just back and forth. It's like, what?
Yeah.
And it doesn't even look like there's any reaction at Kolosov trying to get up, anything like that. So it's just like, wow.
Wow. There's going to be a response, I hope. If there's a response, Vegas is done. Because I think that was a huge game. Edmonton got that home ice, and Vegas, you just got to stay out of the penalty box.
Yes.
You might be fine. Other than that, they're kind of screwed, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. The power play for Edmonton is lethal right now. And it's unstoppable. In Vegas have to stay out of the box. They can't be giving those guys a chance. You don't want Draisaitl, McDavid, Kane, Hyman, like all these guys on the ice at the same time. Chances are they're going to score. Yeah. And Brassard was okay, even in the Jets series. He wasn't spectacular. He did enough to get that series win. And he's not one of those goalies that's going to probably save you game in and game out. So if you're giving Edmonton a lot of chances, they're going to score. But speaking of the response, right now, the game, it's 4-1 Vegas right now. In the second period. So there's your response. And that's with Brossoit getting hurt. I think late in the first. So Aiden Hill is in there now. So Vegas responding in the best way they can, really. Not fighting Kane or anything like that. But taking it to Edmonton at home.
I would like to see the stats on that thing. I was like, if the Oilers want to take control, they just got to keep holding on to that puck. Not getting to the back and forth with the Knights, because that's when the Knights can score on the turnovers and taking from the neutral zone if they get too fancy. But I don't know. I'm with you, so I don't know exactly what's going on. But wow, 4-1.
Yeah, so good start. And you know what? When you're playing against Edmonton and the way we've watched them in these playoffs, it's like you never count them out until the final buzzer goes, right? Because they were down 3-0 or whatever it was to LA, And that's what I felt about Toronto too, for the most part in that first round series. Even if they were down 2-3-0, they'd fight back and come back in the game, but not this round. But Edmonton has that firepower. And Draisaitl, like we talked about, he has been phenomenal. And like what he is showing in these playoffs is like it's way better than what McDavid and Matthews are doing, right? And we talk about those two as probably 1 and 2 as the best players in the world, but Draisaitl's right in that conversation too.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
like they help each other out, yin and yang. Before we move on to the next playoff series, Edmonton Oilers watch party we talked about just a second. What is going on there? People getting stabbed, someone getting shot. What is happening?
Yeah, 2 people were stabbed. Barricades. There's the parties were reaching capacity, and then barricades were getting knocked down. There's reports of bitten fingers, injured staff. So now they've made it one an 18+ event and one just a family event somewhere else kind of thing. But people need to chill out, man. Go there, have a good time, have fun, have some drinks, party with your fellow fans, but chill out, man. Enjoy the time, not try to kill each other.
Yeah. Don't be Vancouver.
Oh, yeah, well, they're getting there.
Let's go. New Jersey, Carolina. Let's touch on these quickly. Ooh, 8-4 last game. Is that right?
Yeah, big statement game for New Jersey. They needed that after the first two. It looked like that series looked like it was going for a sweep.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it might look like Antti Rianta's coming back. I think Carolina will respond. They will take the series. Same thing happened in last against the Rangers. They lost 5-1 and they responded and took care of that business. So I'm not too worried about Carolina. Just a bump in the road.
Yeah, we'll see. Game 4, good response out of them. They ended up scoring still 4 goals in that game. They just, if Antti Ranta's back, he's probably not letting in 8 goals. So
yeah, Brendan Moore said that was like his worst game that he's ever seen that team play.
Yeah, it happens. It's a long playoff run, right?
Absolutely.
We want to see Pomo play his ex team in Carolina, anyways, in the next round, right?
That would be good too. That would be good too. Let's talk about Seattle and Dallas before we get into Pomo. You're itching to talk about Pomo, your boy. If you ask any NFL fan, like regular NFL fan, to name 4 forwards from Seattle, they probably wouldn't be able to do it. I still can't do it, but they put up 7, and they look like they're comfortable in this series.
Yeah, I mean, they looked like they were comfortable last series, but Grubauer actually saved them quite a bit last series. This series, they look like they're getting to Ottinger. Jake Ottinger is looking pedestrian, letting in a lot of goals in the 2 losses in game 1 and game 3. He let in a lot. Like I think he said it or someone said it, that was his worst game of his career yesterday.
Yeah. So, hold on a sec. Okay, so last episode I wore a Leafs jersey. I said Ottinger's awesome, and I said Bobrovsky is shit. So those teams, I'm sorry, but hey, whatever.
Continue. Yeah, you helped those ones out a lot.
So. Yeah, I'm having a good time over here. Continue.
I feel like the series will go 7 anyways, though.
You think it'll go 7?
I think it'll go back and forth like this, like one team dominating kind of, and then the next team kind of coming back and dominating the next one. Like that was dominated in game 2. So I don't feel like Seattle's going to take this over and win it in 5 or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing this one. Like my arms are also up in the air. I really don't know.
Yeah.
But I also kind of want to go on to the Seattle train. I love how they're just getting depth of scoring. Like some people say, oh, they have like 4 second lines. A bit much from what I read, but still the depth of being able to get scoring from every line. No one scoring more than 2 points in that last game. That's crazy when you have 7 goals.
Yeah. So it's kind of like Vegas when they're Vegas in their expansion year, right? They didn't have a top line, but they were getting goals from everywhere, and you could put almost any line on the ice and they had a good chance of scoring. It was crazy, but
that name of Marcia show still haunts my brain.
Yeah, Riley Smith, like these guys, and Carlson, like none of these guys had done anything before that season, right?
Absolutely. Wow. So yeah, it's going to be a good series. Let's talk about Pomo in Florida. Kind of rhetoric question. Is he a good coach? We know he's a good coach. But we also in Winnipeg wonder how much of what happened currently in Winnipeg and happening is on him. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a part in it. There's definitely a part in what this mess is of a dressing room is on him as well. We don't know exactly what went on in his dressing room. We've never been in there. Most people don't know. The people don't know there were the players in there, right? But when you get this kind of dynamic in this dressing room where you have a bunch of guys who are asking to get out year after year, you got other guys like Dustin Byfuglien who end up just, I know it was his ankle injury, but the guy just left $16 million on the table and said, screw it, I'm out, and stuff like that. And now you had Dave Lowry come in to try and fix it and bonus. So something went downhill. These players are definitely, I would give the blame 75% to the players, but 25% in there or something like that is definitely on the coaches and letting it get to the way it did. Yeah. So what is going on in that dressing room? Who knows? But it needs to be cleaned up for any coach to come in here and have success.
Absolutely. So, absolutely.
One day I want Dustin Byfuglien to write us a book and tell us what went down.
Yeah. Just because of what's going on still, the continuation of this, I would put it much less than 25% on Paul Maurice. I'm putting this at maybe 10%. With a guy who doesn't have much control over the roster under Cheveldayoff, who has lost pretty much all of my belief in what he can do for this team, culture-wise and winning-wise. But he's coming back. It doesn't matter. So I'm not putting really much of this on Paul Maurice's plate. Like, if we believe that Bonus talked to these players and called them out inside the room about not pushing back and what's going on, I think there's no reason not to doubt that Pomo did the same. We've seen him do that in Florida, call people out in a public forum. We've seen him freak out. So there's no reason not to believe that he didn't do what he could as a coach to change that culture in that room.
But well, he brought in that culture in a way, right? I mean, it came from Claude Noel. No success there, anyways. They weren't very good. So how did most of the core of these guys, like Scheifele, came in and blossomed under, and Ehlers and all that stuff. So these guys were kind of built under Pomo more than Claude Noel. I'm not saying he brought the culture in. I'm not saying that. At some point, this culture started there and slowly built off. So if it was Wheeler,
it must have been Noel.
If Wheeler was the guy that say, just throwing out a name. So we'll say early guys that were Noel. So not Scheifele or Ehlers or anything like that. They brought it over from Noel. Yes. But they tried to still continue to do it, and Pomo let it grow. And then it grew to Wheeler, Scheifele, and all this stuff. There's a reason why these young guys, Laine, Roslovic, Trouba, Kane, well, Kane was more before Pomo more than anything wanting out. But why did all these guys want out?
Yeah.
You know, and what was the factor? And was it just the players? Was it just the, Wheeler and stuff like that? Or did Pomo turn a blind eye and kind of let this go and see, maybe he thought this was the way to do it. And then he couldn't bring it back and control it afterwards.
I think that's going, though, back to my point, as we've seen what experienced coaches have done. And it's really hard to believe that he let things slide. Just like it's hard to believe that we think that Rick Bowness just let things slide January, February, and all of a sudden he said something at the end of the year that there was no pushback. There's no way that he didn't say that.
I don't think
the only major difference is that Paul Maurice did not go to the media with it. He tried to keep it in-house. We were talking in the offseason about, he quit on the team. Well, he's quit on the team earlier, and apparently the owner and the GM convinced him to come back. I really don't put much of this on Paul Maurice, especially after we've seen the repetition of this culture again in this room.
But you're not going to change it at this point.
Coach could only do so much. These are millionaires.
Yeah,
these are millionaires, and coaches can't be with them 24/7. That's not where the culture is really being built.
Like at this point, it's there. You're not going to get it out of the system. Bonus almost did, it seemed like, and they turned it around. Sure. But that stuff happened halfway through the season. Either they faced adversity and they went back to their old way, thinking that, hey, this will fix it. But it didn't. Even they peaked. 2017-18, they peaked, right?
Yeah.
Then next year, again, they still had pretty much the same roster. They started off hot. They were in first in the conference. And then after Christmas, things started going downhill. And from there, things pretty much kept going down. They didn't get any better, and things got out of control, and the team got worse and worse.
Yeah.
Again, is it all on Pomo? No. Is it all and when I say 25%, I'm saying Pomo, that includes the front office, Chevy, Chipman, all that kind of stuff too. Those guys are all to blame because somebody let this get out of control. And it got to the point where it was. And unfortunately, Pomo's time was done in Winnipeg. It wouldn't have got any better. It probably
he should have left. That's not the debate. That's not the debate. He knew that. He knew his voice was silenced. So
he did some good things here in Winnipeg, man. He got them to the conference finals. They had some success with him here. Just at the end of it wasn't working anymore. So they had to move on. But again, they have to move on from some of these players too.
And I'm even putting less on Pomo because what he's done with these rallying Florida and beating like one of the best teams now, and now being up 3-0 on the Leafs. Like, he's done something special. It's not just Bobrovsky. It's even those last 10 games where he freaked out. We saw him freak out. It took a couple games for them to get that momentum, but he rallied them somehow, some way. He was part of that rallying. Or maybe they ignored him and moved forward. I don't know.
It's Keith Tkachuk, man. He freaked out first in the media about how soft Florida was back in February or early March.
Oh, no doubt. I forgot about that, eh?
And then they flipped things around. They had a rough regular season, and it looked like Pomo, was Pomo. He couldn't get the best out of this kind of team, but they figured it out in the playoffs, and he's got some good systems to knock off Boston and then right now stymie Toronto. So we'll see where it goes, but he's doing a good job right now.
Long adjustment period up in Florida.
It doesn't hurt to have Matthew Tkachuk on your team either. Man, that guy. Jets should have drafted him back in 20 whatever was the line a year.
He can't go back. And now we got the other one, Dubois, and we won't have him for long, hopefully. Gerard Gallant, since we're talking about a coach, is available. Would you go for him?
Part of me wants to, and then part of me is like, why can this guy have success but not longevity anywhere? So that him leaving or getting fired or mutually parting ways 2 or 3 years into something does scare me away from him. If the Jets were starting from scratch and blowing things up, getting rid of players too here and there, I'd say let's go Gallant. But right now, stick with bonus if you're going to stick with the same kind of roster and leave it as is.
Yeah, I would not touch him, period. No thanks, especially with a rebuild. The man has never lasted more than 3 full seasons. Why would you want to rebuild around a guy who might leave in 2 or 3 years? I don't think this is the kind of consistency the Jets need. Like you said, they need a full culture change. And I love that shout out bonus calling it out how it is in the media. I wish he didn't backtrack it a little bit, but whatever.
He only took away the disgusted word.
Yeah, exactly. I shouldn't have used that word. Fair enough. But yeah, I want to see it 100% they're going to roll with him. But yeah, I'm not a fan of Gerard Gallant. Ottawa, there's some good ownership groups that are bidding for Ottawa, perhaps. Well, there's one with Ryan Reynolds, one with The Weeknd, one with Snoop Doggy Dogg. If you could choose, which ownership group would you take?
Man, this would be tough. I'd either go Ryan Reynolds or Snoop Dogg because I think it would be hilarious. Ryan Reynolds is hilarious. Snoop Dogg promoting the game in his only the way he can do it would be hilarious as well. Let's go with the Ryan Reynolds group on this one, just because he's from Canada. He kind of knows the love of the game. I guess The Weeknd's from Canada too, right? But he knows it, love of the game. You know, he's from Vancouver. I think he'd do good things in Ottawa.
Yeah, I'm going Snoop Dogg. Ottawa is a small market team, and the best way for them to really boost their whatever it's called, logo and
profile,
all that garbage. Yeah. Profile is would be Snoop Dogg. They'd be huge in the US. Just entertainment. He'd be all over the place. Ottawa would just hemorrhage cash for the first couple of years, jersey sales and everything. And also just because he could really grow the game in the States. Him as an owner, I'm gonna get quasi semi-political, and it'd be cool to have a black owner in the NHL. Having a black owner, and he's already said, yeah, I'd totally have a Snoop hockey league. We've seen what the Snoop football league has done for the inner city kids and given them opportunities to grow and be professional football players, if anything, get scholarships and get an education. So I think that would be what's best for the game and the Ottawa brand for a bit. So I'm going to take Snoop Dogg. Ryan Reynolds is cool, though. That's not.
So nobody wants The Weeknd then?
No. It's Monday. Let's go to CFL football. Let's talk quickly about the Blue Bomber draft review. Some really solid draft picks. Are there any ones that kind of pique your interest or that you're excited to see come rookie camp, which starts in a couple days?
Yeah, it seems like, I mean, they went a lot, on D here, right? A lot of D line, DBs. And I like the fact that Anthony Bennett, I like that pick, not only because he can also play special teams, but he'll be the, like Kongbo was a few years ago, where the guy can come in and spell, hopefully, Jefferson and Jeffco and let them rest and be ready and more refreshed by the end of the season. So hopefully he can take on that role. So I'm excited to see what he can do and what he'll bring to this team.
He is an intriguing pick. My only concern with Bennett is that he's a little small. He's a 6-footer I think he's under 270 for a rush end in the CFL. But we'll see. You never know. He might fit into one of those hybrids. He can play inside like Jake Thomas, or he can play outside as a rush end, has both of those skill sets, and maybe sometimes play linebacker in short yardage situations. So he might be one of those Swiss Army knives on the defensive side, which could be very valuable in the CFL. But I do like their defensive line picks. But the intriguing one for me is selection number 62, Jonathan Rosary, the running back from Alberta. He's not like the best primetime runner, high-profile runner, but he's a great receiver. Like, he averaged 18 yards plus per reception. So I really see what they can use him as, like a weapon coming out of the backfield. That'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. Plus they signed Michael O'Shea.
Junior as a receiver.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah, there's some good picks. I like that. And I like the lineman that they picked as well. One from Regina as well with Anthony Bennett, and one from the U of M.
Yeah. They went D-line heavy on this one. No O-line at all. So,
and we talked about that actually at the end of the year. The D-line might be getting a little older. Yeah. And they've lost some pieces throughout the years. They lost what's his name to BC?
Richardson, and then Casey Sales this year.
And then you just talked about Jonathan Kongbo. Yeah. So, yeah, we were concerned about the depth. So it's good to see them bring a lot of Canadian depth with high motor guys. So, yeah, we'll see. Shout out to Colin Cornelson at the University of Manitoba, a fellow Bison.
Yeah, right on.
Oh, fellow for me to U of W. Bless. Castillo back to Winnipeg as a kicker. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's a good move. I mean, it's good for the Bombers. They bring some stability back to that position. We saw with Leggio, even though he did fairly well last year in certain situations, pressure situations, he did not do well, and missed a lot of converts, missed a lot of field goals when it needed the most. So I like the move. Good for Castillo, good for the Bombers.
I don't know. I think it's great. Yeah, great for the Bombers. I think it's pretty obvious that Castillo goes in as starting kicker for the year. There's not much time in training camp for these guys really to have a kicking competition. Let's be real. And they're probably paying him a good amount of money, and Leggio will be the punter. And if Castillo suffers and Leggio steps up, no problem letting him go and letting Leggio play. And if not, Castillo, we know, is a proven entity. Grey Cup winner.
Yeah, I like the fact that they'll probably still keep Leggio as the punter, so he's still around just in case. I still think back to Liram Hiralahu, who, ended up getting cut by the Bombers and actually having a pretty successful career after that. So don't want that happening again.
They have like 8 kickers coming in. And then in the global draft, they drafted 2 punters. I don't know. Is there enough balls to go around?
What did Walby say when we interviewed him? That the kickers basically all they did was drink Slurpees all the time anyways?
That's a lot of Slurpees.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go. We're not going nowhere. Let's talk about the CFL all-time East defense. We talked about CFL West all-time defense. You want to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Go first.
Let's start D-line. I'm going to go Joe Montford, 3-time CFL Most Outstanding Defensive Player of the Year, All-Star 5 times, East and league. So great career for him. It's funny because when I was reading about him a bit more today, he missed James Parker's sack season. Was it the season record, 26 and a half, by half? He got 26. So tough break for him in that season, but he was a monster out there on the field.
Yeah, I remember him one time coming out in a playoff game in the tunnel. You know me, I used to like to go in the opposition tunnel and watch him come out and maybe say a little something. He put me in my place. So let's move on. I picked actually another Tie-Cat. I picked Grover Covington. Dude was a force with the Tie-Cats, played 11 seasons, still the all-time sack leader in the CFL with 157 sacks. Defensive Player of the Year in 88 when he tallied 25 sacks in a season.
Yeah.
Grover Covington, number 77. He was a terror.
Yeah, another awesome
shield career. And everything. Yeah. And I'll keep going with D-line. Wow, you know what? I picked another Tie-Cat. I got a lot of Tie-Cats on here in the East. I gotta go with Angelo King Kong Mosca. Dude was one of the meanest players in the CFL in a good way in the league history. He played both offensive and defensive line, defensive tackle, middle guard, and end. Played in Ottawa, Montreal, and Hamilton, so East all the way, and only missed 1 game in his career.
Wow.
The way he played,
that's
crazy. And he's played the most Grey Cups of a player, 9, and he's won 5.
Well, he played back in the day when all he did was rub mud on something, and they went back in there, right?
Exactly. So. Spit on it, bro. Spit on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Angelo King. Remember when him and Joe Cap got into a fight at like the 2011
Grey Cup?
He was swinging his cane, and Joe Cap gave him a quick bang, and he was holding a flower at the same time, wasn't he?
Yeah,
swinging a flower, and he gave him right in there. Anyways,
good times,
legends. Who do you got next on the CFL East all-time defense?
Yeah, I'm going to stay on the D line as well, and I'm going to go with one of our boys. Love watching him play, Alfred Payton, who ended up in the CFL second. In all-time sacks behind Covington. So. Great career for him. 2 Grey Cups, 7-time All-Star, most outstanding defensive player in 2002. So he was a force. Loved watching him on the Bombers. Did not love watching him play in Montreal or anywhere else, but he was a tough guy to play against.
And I know I said this in an episode before, but Chris Walby said he was one of the toughest guys to play against, and I believe it was playing against him where he injured himself. That pretty much finished his career. Because he played on. That's the thing. He had an injured knee, and he played on anyways in a game that really didn't matter. And it was an icy field, and that was crazy.
Yeah.
Who do you got next in the CFL all-time East defense?
Well, let's go to linebacker, and we're going to go with Michael O'Shea, who, kind of his stats and everything speak for themselves. He's second most all-time in tackles. Ended up with 30 sacks, 22 interceptions as a linebacker. So won Grey Cups as a player and as a coach. Obviously, we see now with the Bombers, but he was a force there in Toronto and in Hamilton. 3-time All-Star as well. So I got to go with him at linebacker.
Yeah, I couldn't deny Mike O'Shea. Also, another Hamilton Tiger Cat, Rookie of the Year in 93, most outstanding Canadian in 99, possibly the best Canadian defensive player in CFL history.
Yeah.
He'd get a vote from someone.
Oh,
I'd
for
have
sure.
to look at that list again just to make sure. Doug Brown is going to get a vote. What's his name on BC? He played across from Cameron Wake. Brent Johnston. He was also a force on the D-line. So, but he deserves a vote as one of the best Canadian defensive players ever. And I'm going to go DB Baron Miles. Another Rookie of the Year when he played in Montreal. Had many great years there, but didn't win a Grey Cup in Montreal.
Didn't he win it in Montreal?
No, he won it in BC in 2006.
Okay.
Didn't get one in Montreal. Remember we were talking about like how Anthony Calvillo? Yeah,
I thought he ended up getting one there at least, but no. Okay. 2006.
I think he went to the Grey Cup game 3 times. Yeah.
2001,
2003 with Montreal. 2006, he won it in BC. Crazy 6-time CFL All-Star, 66 picks. Baron Miles.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you, man. And one last thing, he's the all-time leader in block kicks with 13. But yeah, he was a menace back there, second all-time in interceptions. Can't remember if he said that or not, but yeah, he had a wicked career. And like you say, it's shocking to find out he only won one Grey Cup.
Great coach.
Yeah,
great coach. I'm gonna give a shout out to Don Wilson. I remember him coming out of the tunnel playing in the 1991 Grey Cup. Remember in the Argos, they held their helmets out in the air. You were there.
Yeah.
And on that cold ass day. But he was just a menace. He was like a safety. He hit like a safety, played linebacker, played like a linebacker, but was a great corner as well. So Don Wilson, shout out to you. Let's move on to hot topics.
Yes, let's do that.
NHL draft lottery results. What's going on? Who gets the first pick? Who gets Bedard, pretty much?
Bedard is off to the Central Division and heading probably to the Chicago Blackhawks unless something drastic happens there. So they end up winning the draft lottery. Good karma for all they've done in the past, I guess.
Can't wait to see him 6 to 8 times a year. Or whatever it is. We play Central Division teams.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an unfortunate NAF spot. Unfortunate for Anaheim, Columbus as well, kind of thing. Chicago, who ended up having success with Kane and Taves, right? Yeah. Those guys get to the end of their career and all of a sudden they plop another superstar into their laps. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
CFL rule changes for 2023. Which one sticks out to you?
And I like the rule of not having two players who can wear 0 and 0-0. Just kidding. I found that interesting that's one of the rules. You can't have a player wear 0 and a player wear 0-0. It can only be one or the other.
It confuses the scouts.
Yes. Because the guy can't see 2 zeros on the back.
Yeah, none of the rule changes really stuck out to me. There was one about the kick and touching it and about getting the rouge on the kickoff, which kind of makes sense. When are they going to fix that stupid... I know it's happened probably once in my lifetime where the guy got the rouge or didn't get because he didn't get a chance to return the ball. Remember that?
Yeah.
There was a defensive foul, and then because the play didn't happen, it got whistled down. He didn't get to return the rouge out. Just fix that rule. A rouge can only happen if you get an attempt to take the ball out. Why can't you fix that rule?
Yeah, what was that? Did they end up giving a penalty? Like, why wouldn't the play have run? It doesn't make sense to me at all.
Was it offside or defensive, something like that, defensive or whatever holding, and then the guy whistled the play. He didn't get a chance to return the ball, and then they didn't do a re-kick. They just gave them the rouge.
Wow, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to change just one thing about the rouge, giving it on a kickoff without having to be touched or whatever, fix everything to go with it, right? And keep it, but make sure it works properly in all situations.
Yeah, you don't want to look foolish again. Ursay warning teams about tampering with luck. Just shut up and be happy there's actually action on this dude's name.
Yeah.
It's not like he can be moved without your permission. Worst case scenario, what? You get assets from another team?
Yeah.
What's wrong with this guy? Stay off of Twitter, man. And he does it on Twitter.
Yeah. I think it's because it's the Commanders and he can't stand Daniel Schneider and wants the team taken away from Schneider sooner than later.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he's making a bigger deal of it than what it seems.
Well, if you don't like him, even more reason to trade Luck if he really wants to play again to them.
Yeah.
Because we know he's out the door.
Exactly. Yeah.
This guy.
He likes to be heard.
Last hot topic, soccer players being booked for responding to racist chants. Thoughts? Go ahead.
Terrible, man. Like, what is going on? So you had a guy in Italy playing for Juventus, Dusan Vlahovic, who is Serbian, and the opposing fans were being racist, making Serbian chants. So after he scored a goal, he did the motion, like, keep it coming, boys, like, kind of thing, right? And then he gets booked for that. They did stop the game at some point to caution the fans and stuff like that, but big deal. It obviously didn't work. Why are you giving this guy a card for doing that? Terrible.
That's ridiculous. Like, you should be encouraging that. Go here, up your ass, racists. And then if that's happening, I like what they do in the NBA. Like Russell Westbrook, he will stop. He'll point at the guy and he's like, I'm not playing until he is gone, until he's out of the stadium. And if that doesn't work, give the team a red card. If they can't control their fans and instill a policy of no racism, give them a red card and let the other team pick which player has to be taken off or sent off for it.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be serious repercussions. Like, imagine if people were being, and who knows, it probably does happen at the stadium once in a while, but not to this level of racism towards any type of players. Like, you'd be gone.
Yeah, and that's what it should be, and it's not taken seriously enough in Italy or in Europe altogether, really. And none of these, like, it would be a group. You're basically kicking out the whole stadium at this point because all of them were doing it, right? Pretty much. So you're crazy. You're stopping the game, kicking the fans out, and waiting for them to leave to resume the game at this point. But the coach too of Atalanta, who they're playing, did not help the situation either with his comments that he made. So it's not a good situation all around. He goes, because we have Serbian players on our team. They weren't actually being racist. They were just trying to be rude. Okay.
Shut up.
Right, buddy.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to hit the owners in the pockets.
Yeah.
Sorry. If these incidents keep happening, no fans are allowed in.
Yeah.
They will play in an empty stadium.
Yeah, and they've done it in the past, but they don't do it enough.
What a joke. What a joke. You got a shout out?
Yeah, I'm going to go shout out back to the same league, the Serie league in Italy, the Premier League there. Shout out to Napoli for finally winning a Scudetto, it's called. That's the championship after 33 years, and the last time they won it was with Diego Maradona. So shout out to Napoli for finally getting it done.
Ugh, you went through that streak and the Bomber streak.
Yeah, that was a long time.
Blessed again.
The soccer one I could live with because they were bankrupt here and there. They didn't have a lot of money. The Bomber one was a lot tougher when you only got 9 teams.
No, the Bombers were also almost bankrupt. Let's remember.
That's true.
Shout out to the Winnipeg Ice for making the WHL final. Still awaiting their opponent. I think it's between Seattle and Kamloops.
Yeah.
And they're actually moving the series to Canada Life Center downtown. Yeah. So in the words of Joe Aiello, get your tickets before it's too late.
Remember let's sell that place out. That'd be awesome.
Benny, you got anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Hey, Bomber training camp starts on Sunday, right?
Rookie camp Wednesday, awesome. And then to the next week we go into full camp.
Yeah, so we're getting there. That's awesome. Can't wait. Looking forward to that. Have a good week. Thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget, subscribe, follow, check us out.
That was a good episode. That was a good time.
Yeah.
Don't forget, be kind, be safe, help each other out. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.